The Land Before Time, the illustrated story. Chapter 5. Littlefoot finds friends. Out of the pond popped a little female big mouth, younger than Littlefoot and friendly looking. "Hello," said the little big mouth. "My name's Ducky. What's yours?" Littlefoot sniffed back his tears and ignored her. "I said hello," said Ducky. "Can't you talk? Huh?" Littlefoot remembered how Sarah had acted toward him. He said, "Longnecks don't talk to whatever you are." Ducky couldn't understand. "I'm a long neck like you," she finally answered. "See?" She stretched her neck to make it as long as she could. Littlefoot just shook his head and stared back at her, as he thought Sarah would do. Ducky shrank back and looked sad. "All right, I am not a long neck. She cried. "I am a big mouth. But I am alone. Yep, I am. I lost my family in the big earthshake." Littlefoot's heart filled with pity. He didn't like pretending to be something he was not. He no longer cared what Sarah would do. "Do you want to go with me?" he asked. "Oh, yes, I do," said Ducky, jumping up and down with joy. "Come on, then," said Littlefoot, "but you'll have to keep up." "I will keep up," answered Ducky. "Where are we going?" "Huh?" "To the Great Valley," said Littlefoot. "I'm not going to stop until I find my grandparents." "Oh, goody!" cried Ducky. "Maybe I'll find my family there, too." Littlefoot nodded and walked off in the direction of the bright circle in the sky. Ducky skipped and bounced alongside, trying to keep up. She soon made a game of it and giggled in delight. The next day, Littlefoot and Ducky crossed a dry lake bed. They were both hungry, but there was nothing to eat except straggly palm trees. Littlefoot bit down on one and heard a strange squeak. "The tree is talking!" cried Ducky. "No, it isn't," mumbled Littlefoot. Suddenly, a small creature slid down right onto his face. Something fluttered and squawked around his head, and he let go of the tree with a cry. The squawking thing scrambled away and scurried into a nearby hole. Littlefoot and Ducky peered in and came face to face with a sorry-looking little flyer. "Who are you?" asked Ducky. The little flyer gave out a whistling sound and said, "My name is Petrie." He smiled at them. "Did I fly off the tray?" he asked hopefully. "No, you fell," answered Ducky. Petrie gave out a series of sad whistles and said, "I no flied, I falled." "But if you can't fly, how did you get up that tree?" asked Ducky. "I climb," answered the little flyer. "Flyers aren't supposed to climb," said Littlefoot. "They're supposed to fly." Petrie whistled again and said, "Too hard to fly." Petrie soon made friends with Littlefoot and Ducky and asked if he could go with them to the Great Valley. Littlefoot felt sorry for the little creature and didn't want to leave him all alone, so he said yes. In the meantime, Sarah was alone in the deep canyon. She wandered along, jumping at every sound and shadow. She missed Littlefoot, even if he was a long neck. The clouds had covered the sun, sending the canyon into darkness. Sarah bumped into something and bounced back. "What was that?" she said aloud. As the clouds moved away and shafts of sunlight streamed down, she could see that she had bumped into Sharptooth. Sarah started to bolt when she noticed that his one good eye was closed and he wasn't moving. He was dead, she guessed. That made her braver. She charged at the huge beast and gave her battle cry. She stopped just sort of butting it, then backed up and charged again. She backed up a third time and dug her feet into the ground, lowered her head, and charged. Just as she was about to hit the monster's head, she glanced up and cried in fright. Sharptooth's eye was open and glaring at her hatefully. He was still alive. Sarah screamed and scrambled up the canyon side, but Sharptooth's tail slammed down in front of her. It looked as if she were trapped. As darkness fell, Littlefoot, Ducky, and Petrie were plodding along a bleak, dried-up plain. Petrie tried to keep up with his two new friends, but his little legs couldn't do it. He climbed up to Littlefoot's head, rolled up the tree star that Littlefoot still carried, and tucked it under his wing. "That's much better," he said with a sigh. Littlefoot shook his head. "I am not a carrier," he said. "Get off! You're the flyer, so start flying." But Petrie wouldn't budge. "Then I'll make you fly," said Littlefoot. With the little flyer still clinging to his head, he started to run. Petrie flapped his wings in the wind, but he was too scared to let go. Suddenly, a terrible scream echoed down the plain. The three friends stopped in their tracks. The screaming creature came nearer and nearer. In the darkness, the three travelers stumbled into the skeleton of a large animal. They all turned to run the other way, but it was too late. With a wild rush, the screaming creature came into their midst. Stay tuned for Chapter 6. Peace out and see you next time. Bye.